Welcome, everybody. We have another episode Against the Grain podcast. This is episode number 10. Thank you guys for all your support. All of you guys that tune in, share the video, all that. We appreciate you guys so much. With that being said, I'm really excited for this one. As you guys can tell, I got my Crocs on right now because this is the Gen Z podcast. I got some guests here. What's up, guys? I got my cousin Christian. I got Laila, and I have Anessa over here. How you guys feeling? How you guys doing?
Hey, we're good. I'm good.
Layla, you're like a pro already at this, right? We were joking earlier, like you're a star already on this. This is your third episode, right?
A little bit, yeah. Third episode.
Yeah. Christian, your first time, bro. Welcome. Anessa, thank you for jumping on. I know, like last minute, I was like, Anessa, are you down to come on? And you said yeah. So thank you guys for just being on. Really appreciate you guys. But let's start. Let's go around the room real quick. Why don't we do this? We'll start with you, Christian. Give us your name, all that. Well, they already know your name's Christian, but so we'll start with you, and then say your name, how long you've been saved for, and what year you were born in.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Christian. I got saved maybe like 2 years ago. I grew up in the church, but like saved was 2 years ago, and I was born in 2001.
2001. All right.
Okay, my name's Laila, as most of you guys know. I got saved like a year and a half ago, I would say, and I was born in 2003.
2003.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
My name's Anessa. I've been saved for 5 years, and I was born in 2007.
Dang, 2007. Nice. So 2001, 2003, 2007. Nice.
Gotta
cool.
do the math.
Yeah, let him do the math. Where's my phone? Okay, I got my phone. So I had to Google. So I was like, all right, we hear a lot about like Gen Z and all that. So I was like, what are the years? So I remember I Googled it. They said Gen Z is the years from 1997, 98 to like mid 2010s, like 2014, 15, around there. So obviously you guys all fall into that. And I'm excited to have this podcast because I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Gen Z. Yeah. I feel like that name has been thrown around so much. Like a lot of people talk about Gen Z, even because I was even thinking like, okay, when I was younger, like I feel like people didn't talk about my generation as much as they're talking about you guys like right now and stuff. So I was like, we got to get you guys on and do this. So thank you guys again for being on. We're going to go straight into it. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of topics to bring up. So I'm excited for this episode. I wanted to kind of, I'll kind of start and then I'll kind of kick it to you guys and ask a few questions on this. So there's a lot of, I feel like, misconceptions when it comes to Gen Z. There's a lot of like stereotypes and people feel like Gen Z is like a certain way, whether it's, there's some crazy stuff. I'll say the things at least that I've seen. They say like Gen Z is like very like, they're lazy or they're always on their phones or they're not motivated. Just a lot of like negative things towards like Gen Z. And I look at all you guys and I'm like, man, I specifically wanted you guys to come on because I know all of your guys' stories. Obviously, you're my cousin. I've known you forever. You know what I mean? So it's like I know all your guys' stories and like you guys set such a good example for this generation. Like really, like you guys really do. Before we kind of go on, what are some kind of like the misconceptions that you guys have heard or stereotypes other than like those that I mentioned that maybe like people have said about Gen Z that you've heard before or anything like that? Like what are some kind of some things you guys have heard before?
I mean, I definitely think that a lot of people think Gen Z are rebellious and then on their phones a lot. That's something that we get all the time. Yeah. But I think that we're really motivated and the phones are something that helps us to grow and prosper financially and just to get to know each other. And that's the great thing as well, just getting to network and socialize in that area. But there's definitely a lot of negativity around Gen Z. And I think it's just because, in a way, there are a lot of rebellious Gen Z. But at the same time, like, I feel like there's rebellion in every age group. So it really just depends on what you're looking at, what you're specifically talking about. But I would just say that a lot of people say that we're rebellious.
Rebellious. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like every generation, they feel like that. Like the older people think like, oh, this generation's crazy. Yeah. Like every generation's been like that. But it almost seems like for Gen Z, they make it like a lot worse. It's weird. Yeah. What about you, Christian? What was some of the things you've heard?
Yeah, like I'm going to piggyback what she said. Like people think we're rebellious because like people just dye their hair now, like any crazy color. And like I remember at Best Buy, some guy walked in, he's like, "Oh, this generation sucks." Like look at this blue hair, like it's crazy. But yeah, same thing with like laziness. They think like we're not like gonna do anything in life and just gonna play video games and stuff. And I could say for myself, that's how I was. And then one day I just woke up and started going to school and like working, get like earn money and stuff. But before I was just lazy, just on my. Even my dad told me, he's like, "Dude, go get a job. Like all you do is just watch movies and stuff." Yeah.
No, that's true. That's one that I hear a lot, is just like the laziness part. Like, oh, they're not motivated. They're just on their phones and stuff like that. What about you, Anessa?
I think with the whole phone thing, it's like everything's on social media now. So like if I wanted to, I can do all my schoolwork on my phone. So it's like,
Dang, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like if I log into the website, I can do everything right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And right now you're being homeschooled. You're doing everything from home.
Yeah.
Have you gone? Because what grade are you, like, would you technically be in right now? Like if you were in school.
10th.
In 10th grade.
Yeah.
Okay. So your freshman year, you didn't go to school either.
No.
So you've been home, like, since you've been in high school, you've been doing it from home.
Since 7th grade. Yeah.
Do you see yourself going back at all? Like, you're gonna do it 100% from home?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's different. I've had like friends that have like done homeschool and stuff like that, and a lot of them love it. One guy didn't really like doing it, so I think like senior year he like actually came to school. But some people do, some people don't. What's been like your experience? You like doing
like,
it?
I like it. Like I can focus better. My grades are better than when I was actually in school. So I prefer it than being in real school.
And then you have like, how does your mom's not your teacher, right?
No.
I think that's a misconception. Like homeschoolers, like, oh, your mom's your teacher. It's just like so chill.
That's
She's gonna give you a passing grade every time or
It's like
something.
a whiteboard.
Yeah. So it's not like that.
No, so I have like all kinds of, like I have all my teachers, but they're all online. So like I go to the Zoom meetings and they're all in there.
So they see you like camera and all
No,
that.
like we can't have our cameras on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they record the meetings and then they send them out for the kids who can't miss
Oh.
them. So they don't want our faces. Like,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's crazy. And then you guys went to like high school, right?
Yeah. Well, for me, COVID hit like junior year. So from the middle of junior year, I think it was the middle, till the end, I was on Zoom, which like was so bad for me. My grades went down. I don't know how I
Really?
graduated. I think that they let us pass because they understood that COVID happened and all of that. So it was remote and it was bad. Yeah. And we had to show our faces. So I would just put it towards the ceiling.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What about you, Christian? You went to regular high school.
Yeah, I
and
went to
stuff,
regular
right?
high school, and then
You jumped twice, right? You like transferred schools?
Yeah, I went to BP, and then I went to South Hills. But my freshman year of college, and that's when COVID hit, and then everything was on Zoom. But like back to the Gen Z, like I had no motivation to do school and stuff, so I just dropped all my classes and I was just chilling at home. But I think my year when I graduated high school was the last class to have a graduation in person.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that, because I think like I was in school, I was like, man, like I felt so bad seeing the kids that graduated during COVID, because that would have been your class, right?
No, I actually had graduation barely.
2019. So it was 2019?
When did I graduate?
Or it was 2020?
2021.
But you guys had
2021.
Yeah.
But you guys had regular graduation?
Yeah.
Like in person?
It was like
Oh, that's
barely
good.
cutting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because some like that graduated 2020, like they couldn't. I'm like, man, that sucks. Like we did like senior prank, senior ditch day, like all these different things. I'm like, man, that sucks that like that class didn't get a chance to experience that, you know,
Yeah.
or walk down the aisle or whatever. Like, man, that's crazy. Or not walk down the aisle. Walk walk on the stage, right? Like you get the diploma or whatever.
technically.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, because I had a couple of friends that graduated in 2020, and they had the drive-by graduation. When you just
Oh,
had
I
to chew
remember
in your
seeing
car.
that. Yeah, I
And
remember
was
seeing that.
like, bro,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Did any of you guys have any birthdays at all like that? Like they did a drive-by on you? No?
My
You-
mom, we planned it for my mom, but not me.
Oh, poor guy. No, wait, was it your mom that we went?
Yeah.
I was there, right?
You were there.
Oh.
Everybody
I
was
thought that was
there.
for Pudge. That was for your mom?
That was for both.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think I did. I think I was there for Vanessa, I think. I don't know. But yeah, like this, like 2020 was such a crazy year. And it's good that you guys bring that up. I wanted to, kind of bring that up. They said that Gen Z is a very special generation because of COVID, because of what like was experienced in that time and stuff. And I got to give it to you guys in your guys' generation that was a tough time. I'll even share like even like the kids that are in like our church, you know what I mean? We saw like, there was a time that we didn't see, the kids for a long time. So it's like we saw them in like 2019, early 2020, and then we didn't see them. And I felt like when everyone came back, like things were different. Like the kids grew up, they were a little bit like more shy. They were just like different. They like changed so quickly, you know? Did you kind of notice that, Anessa?
Yeah, like it was awkward for the first couple. Like I still talk to like all the kids from church like during quarantine, but it was awkward because we hadn't seen each other in person in a really long time.
I felt like you guys aged like 5 years in like 1 year. Like things just like changed so quickly. It was crazy. And yeah, so I was reading like on Gen Z just different stats, and they said that was one thing that was really tough like on that generation. And they said that pushed them more into like social media and stuff because everyone was like at home and stuff, What was your guys' experience like during like quarantine, COVID and stuff like that, like individually?
Well, personally, I liked it because I used to be like a homebody. So I love staying at home, watching Netflix, cooking all day. And so I loved it. And the only thing was with school, I just plummeted down. Like I would literally like in the morning I would go and like turn on, because you went into a Zoom meeting. So I would go into the Zoom meeting and then I put it on mute and then I'd face the camera up and then I would just go back to sleep. And like all the time I would wake up to the teacher like, Laila, Laila. And like I would wake up and no one else was in the meeting and I was like, oh my gosh.
Dang.
Or like they were asking me a question and the whole class was in there and I was just like, oh, this is terrible.
Like, I can't hear you. I think I was on mute.
It was so bad.
Like some kind of an excuse or something.
So bad, yeah. So like I liked it, but with school it was hard for me. And then what pastor, he was talking about this the other day. He said like all of the Gen Z, like we went into quarantine and then we came back going to school and it's almost like we didn't know how to socialize. And like it was like awkward. So now every like teenager kid, like they're always like, oh, I have social anxiety or I just don't know how to like talk to people. And it's true because you feel really awkward, but it's because you kind of lost that sense of like socializing. So we're barely like getting back into it. But everyone's just calling it social anxiety. But I think like I forgot that, no, it's from COVID and quarantine. And so when pastor said that, I was like, dang, that is so true. Like, yeah, so.
That's good. What about you, Christian? What was your experience like during COVID and stuff?
I was like 50-50. I liked it and I didn't like it because like all my friends, I couldn't see them. Like my parents were very strict about going out and stuff. I got COVID once and like after that I didn't get it. But all I would do, because they gave me a dog. They got me a dog. So I had a COVID dog. And then
Some people have COVID babies. You got a whole COVID dog.
I had a COVID dog.
That's
and
cool,
then
bro.
I just wake up, hang out, and just do nothing. Like I remember going to sleep like at 5 a.m., sleeping all day and just repeat it because I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
My parents' stuff worked because like they're nurses. So either way, the hospitals are still open. So I'll just be alone, walk to McDonald's, get food. It's the same thing, you know. I'm bored.
Yeah.
When I got out, I remember seeing my friends. I'm like, dude, I don't even know who you are anymore. I have like beards, no haircuts, like, because I still got home haircuts from my friends. I don't know who I tried to impress because I was at home, but it was.
When did you guys meet, like you and Laila?
I was at our graduation in 21. So
I think we meant 2020.
Yeah.
Really?
Like when COVID happened.
Yeah, like right
Is
when
this like an
COVID hit.
online? I don't think have I asked you guys this? It was online, right?
Yeah,
It was
Snapchat.
online.
Who hit up who first?
Bro, come on.
Come on now.
No, wait,
Come
hold on.
on.
No, come on. It was Layla.
Dang,
No.
really? That's
No,
cool.
no, no,
Breaking
no.
stereotypes. I like it. Gen Z, shout out.
No, it wasn't.
Nah, it was me.
It was gross.
It was me. We just FaceTime. Literally, that's how I did FaceTime 2K,
Yeah.
play with friends, and that's it.
That's cool. That's good. And then you guys got saved like kind of together? Or how did that kind of happen?
Okay, well, he brought me to church. We were talking about this the other day because I was like, how did I even come to church? Why did I say yes? Like, what made me? Because I never thought about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think I just told you that I'm going if you want to come. And I was like, I don't even know how that happened. But yeah, I got saved like a couple months into coming. I don't know about Chris's whole journey.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
it's like, you know.
I've been going to church with Manny since I was a kid, and then I kind of grew out of it for a couple years, and then I started coming back, and then that's when I started talking to Layla. And then I was like, one day, like, come to church with me, and me and my mom will pick you up. And that's like one of the first times she ever met Pudge. And I wasn't like serious about church. I was like, let's go, and I could see like my family and friends and stuff. But she decided to come, and then she got saved first, technically. And then like seeing her transform made me like take it serious. And that's when I got saved, basically due to Layla, because I brought her, but you know, it's opposite.
Yeah.
Layla's got some fans in the audience.
Yeah.
I hear people shouting her down. They're excited. Shout out to Layla.
She's a fan favorite for sure.
No, but I think what's cool is like with you two is like you guys are young. You guys are like, you know what I mean? Like doing like the whole ministry thing. Shout out to you guys because you guys are also part of leadership and our staff, you know, with the youth as well too. So that's really cool. It's awesome to see what you guys are doing and stuff. But one thing that's cool is that I feel like it's awesome that you guys have your own like personal relationships with God. Because, you know, we've seen it happen so many times. Like someone gets saved and then they get the boyfriend saved, but the boyfriend or the girlfriend depends, like, you know, they're only in it because the other person, you know what I mean? And slowly like something happens or it's like one little fight or something. And then that other person, whether it's the boyfriend, girlfriend, they're gone because they just did it for the other person, you know? But with you guys have your genuine like relationship with God, which is amazing to see. Because that's really rare, especially when like one gets saved like right after. It's kind of like, are you really saved? Are you doing this for the other person, right? And like, but honestly, seeing you guys, I knew even from the beginning that I was gonna be different with you two. Like I swear, like it really felt different.
Because I have a couple of friends that like we just said like that happened, and then they ended up breaking up. It was more for jealousy because my friend was jealous of his girlfriend, like seeing her how she involved in church and like how he sees the love of God on her, and like he's like, oh, I'm different, and like he got jealous of her, so that's why they split. And then so that's like, it's crazy how you say it, because like I see it differently with us, because like we spend our own time with God and stuff like that.
I know, like for the longest time, Chris and I had to talk about that, because
Yeah.
like I feel like when I first got saved, God like has been like accelerating me, like glory to God. And so Chris, his is more like a slow, like, I don't know the word, but God's really taking his time with Chris and his whole process. And so like people had to talk to Chris and say like, you know, Laila, she might be getting like boosted up, and you might not be seeing that for yourself, but you have to understand that you guys are one, and like it's a journey for you, and everyone's salvation and journey with God looks different. And so like we struggled with that for a while, and like I think it was like a couple weeks ago, I don't know what, I did something, I had like something big going on, and he was like, I'm really proud of you for that, you did really good. And I was like, oh my gosh, because that was the first time where like I felt like he genuinely was like, I am proud of you, like to see you doing that, instead of like, oh dang, I wish I could have that. And so that was something that we worked on, but it's so cool to like have that as well.
Yeah. That's good, man. Shout out to you guys, man. We need more young couples like you guys. You guys are awesome.
I want to piggyback on real quick what you said. Yeah, because like when she first started like opening and stuff like that, I had a little jealousy in me that I had to like talk to God about and like get that fixed, because I was like, I've been in the church longer, like how come I'm not doing anything big, you know?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. You man, you love the tea, huh?
You were mad because I asked Laila, bro. No, but dude, like you said, like everyone has their time. You know what I mean? And it's funny because we've seen people like try to like just do it, you know what I mean, out of just like their own thing, and it's like it never works out, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. It's cool to see you guys, because like now with you, like I see like how genuine it is. Like even yesterday we were hanging out, there was an event out in Melrose and stuff, like seeing you worship, seeing you like talk with people, connect with people, like it's genuine now. Not that it wasn't before, but it's like you really are genuine at this point. And that's when we're like, we need some, you know, some leaders with ours, you know, with staff and stuff with the youth, and I was like, man, you guys are ready. I remember you guys approached me, or we did that Zoom call or that FaceTime, and I was like, you guys are ready, so it's cool. Yep. But you were a little jealous, huh? But no, that's a valid point, right? Like a lot of people feel that way. Like I've been in church for so long, or whatever the case is. But like I said, it's all timing, you know.
Yeah, something I had to work on like a lot. But I remember yesterday you're like, I want to pick your skin a little bit. Why are you gonna pick out your own cousin's skin and like try to get the tea out of me?
Oh yeah, I did tell you that, huh? I was like, what was I thinking when I said that? But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's crazy because like, when I growing up, I would just go to church basically just to hang out with you and go eat with you guys. But now it's like different. Like I'm like, we have to be at church, because if I'm not at church, I just feel different. Like I love going to the worship nights, and like I feel like seeing other people encounter God. It's just powerful, because I was in their shoes one day, and then now look at them like saved. And I saw people get baptized yesterday. It's good because I got baptized like in September, August. So just see people like that.
You guys, you guys all got baptized together?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I swear I didn't set that up. That's crazy. You guys all got baptized together. You guys are here right now. That's crazy. And that's what was that like getting baptized and stuff? What did that mean to you? Well, you were emotional, right? Didn't you?
I was crying.
Yeah, you were.
I was shaking.
That's crazy. Let's talk about it.
I was excited. I know I was excited. Like I wanted to do it, but when I got up there, I was like, I was gonna back out. I didn't say it, but I was going to back out because I was so nervous. And then I got it, and like I told my testimony, and I was like, okay,
Can you share a little bit? Do you remember what you shared on? If you want.
It was more like he healed my parents, which healed me. Because I've been coming to church since I was 9, so I didn't really have the like whole like crazy testimony where I was a drug addict.
Yeah.
So for you know what I'm saying?
Some people do.
What you're saying.
So it was like, for me, it was like they healed my family, which healed me from trauma, from seeing all that stuff.
That's true.
Because you grew up with your parents like not in church and all that. How tough was that? Like, did you see a lot of things?
It was more like fights and things like that, yeah.
Your mom's got those hands or what? Do not mess with Cynthia.
I know. I believe
They don't know.
I'm like, is she here right now?
No, but yeah, it was pretty serious. No, Cynthia, you could tell Cynthia has a past. Like, don't mess with her. But she's so cool now. She's amazing. Part of the greeting team and everything. Yeah. But that's crazy. You guys saw that growing up.
Yeah.
So, because you have a younger brother, you have JoJo's your younger brother, but he was probably a baby at that time, right? He was like little.
Yeah.
So you saw more of it, like actually growing up. That's crazy because there's other kids in our church like your age and stuff like that, and I've talked to one of them, and he said that his parents are like that growing up, that he saw a lot of things. And you know, he has younger siblings just like you do, and they didn't really see too much of that, or they were too little to know. So he remembers a lot of things, and like sometimes like, you know, those things have came up and stuff. So I definitely feel for you guys. That's tough, you know. But I mean, it must be like, it's hard, but then it's also cool because like I'm sure you're proud of them to see where they're at today, right? Because you saw the real transformation. That's awesome. And then it's cool for you because your situation is a little bit different than some people, because both of your parents are in church and they're leaders and they're staff, like they're part of the church. Was that always, was like growing up and stuff, was sometimes that hard to like having your parents so involved in church?
No, like I liked it. Like I like it, and I think it's helped me because now I'm serving. So I think it's like gone on to me, and now I'm like,
because you're helping with the kids, right?
Yeah.
The little baby, the toddlers?
Yeah.
That's cool. You love babies, huh?
Dude.
She's like always has like a baby in her hand or something, or like taking pictures of babies and stuff, like on social media and stuff. That's cool. That's really cool. Something that, Laila, I want to ask about, want to ask all of you guys about, something that you brought up was mental health. You said, I don't know what you said specifically a while ago, but you had mentioned something about it, and I was like, oh, I want to touch on that because that's so good. I was reading earlier, and they said that Gen Z, one of the biggest things with Gen Z is mental health. They said that Gen Z struggles more with like mental health like issues than any other generation, like, you know, that's ever been, basically. Like, you know, Gen Z sets the record for like mental health issues, but also they also are like aware of mental health as well too. Like they value it more, and they're more like open to it, and they understand it more, but they also like suffer from it too. What is your guys' like, have you guys heard anything like this? Have you guys struggled with your own things? Like, what's your kind of view on like mental health, or like those around you in your generation? Like, what's the kind of overall view of mental health? We'll start with you.
I feel like the awareness, because definitely Gen Z is like aware about a lot of topics. They want to talk about everything and how we can fix everything. And so with the mental health, I feel like bringing awareness to it also accelerated it. Like, since everyone knows about it now, everyone's like, well, do I have that? Do I have social anxiety, which is what I brought up? Or do I have depression or suicidal thoughts? And so it kind of magnified it. And it's honestly like, it's like a trend now. Like for some, it's like every single Gen Z almost has like some sort of mental health problem because it's a trend. And so like when we were at the Hope California, and they were praying for Gen Z, I got so touched because there was a girl up there, and she started talking about like how a lot of them have, like, they commit suicide. And I feel like we never think about it, or I don't think about it as much because I'm in my own little bubble, you know, of happiness and joy. And so I never think about that stuff. But when she started to talk about it, and like she was going into detail, and I was like, oh my gosh, and it really touched me, and it broke my heart. And I'm like, what could be so bad that they don't want to be here anymore? It was so hard for me, and I was just like, do they not know? I was crying to God, like right there. I was like, do they not know you, God? Do they not know how much you love them? Do they not know their worth? And he's like, they don't know me. That's the thing. Like, they don't know that there's an answer, that there's a key. And then I felt something like a fire, like, we need to tell them, because they think that no one's there for them. That's why they have depression and are doing these things. They think that they're alone, but they're not. And if only they could understand and like know and appreciate and feel the love of God and who he is, they would know like they want to live this life, and their life is so, it's worthy. Like there's so much that God has for them. And so that really, that touched me. And so that's where I am with Gen Z. Like, they need to be saved and suicide free, because it's a serious issue. And if only they knew the love that God carried for them, if only they knew, suicide rates would go down so far if they just knew God, you know?
Do you guys know anybody that's committed suicide? Like any type of friends or anything, or no?
I don't know.
I've known like people that have tried or like thinking about it, because I have a friend. Well, we have a friend named. He's in the military right now. He's been talking to me how like depressed he is and stuff. He's been smoking and drinking, and it's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm like, he's been trying to. We got him a Bible for his birthday. I told him, dude, just open it up and just pray. And he's like, no, like I literally have nobody here. I'm like, you have a God everywhere you go, no matter what, he's gonna be by your side. But other than that, no.
When I was in the world, like before I got saved, I had like those suicidal thoughts, and it was really just because I felt so alone. And like I would get in fights with my mom, or like my mom would say things to me or my parents, and like I would feel like no one cares for me, like I have nobody. And then like all your friends like stab you in the back, or they're not like real, you know? So I just felt like alone. Like, why am I even here? Worthless. And like, I wanted to do it, but more for like attention, because I didn't want to die. So like, I wouldn't take that step. Like, I would like cut and like stuff like that, but I wouldn't actually take like the drastic step to like do it, because I didn't want to die. Like, I wanted to be alive. I just wanted like attention, or someone to be like, oh my gosh, Laila, like, I love you. You know, that's it. And like, as soon as I met God, like, I've been completely satisfied, where I don't even have those thoughts. Like, that's all they need. You know?
Wow, that's good. No, that's really good. What about you, Anessa? Like, as far as like mental health and stuff like that, like what are some of the things that like I guess Gen Z is like, you know, so infatuated, like, you know, about it, or what's like attractive about, because like Laila said, a lot of people are kind of like into it, but maybe it kind of like, they feel like they have a certain thing, but maybe some of them do.
I feel like with what Laila said is now it's like everybody knows about it now, and before you couldn't talk about your feelings, you couldn't cry if someone died. You just had to suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah.
So now everybody sees it, so now everybody thinks like, what is this? And they want to know about it, and then that's why it may seem like it's all people talk about and that's all it's about, but it's like it wasn't there before, so nobody's seen it.
Yeah, because I know like when I was in school, like I never heard anybody ever have anxiety, like ever. And I'll never forget, like it ended up hitting me, and I was like, I felt so alone because no one talked about it. Like I swear, like when it happened to me, I was like, what is this? No one's ever talks about this. Like it was so different. And for me, it was just like a stupid situation that happened. And then all of a sudden I got like this anxiety thing, and it got really bad for me, really dark for that summer. I'll never forget. And it was tough. Like it literally consumed my life, and I'll never forget. Like I remember telling my mom one day during that summer, and I was like, man, I'm so sick of this, like dealing with this every day. Like I couldn't be like in confined spaces, like just all these weird things that came up because of a situation that happened. And it like triggered it or whatever. But anyways, I'll never forget. And I told my mom, I was like, no one knows what this is. Like I've tried to talk to people about it. No one has any answers. Like, you know, we've got at our previous church, like people had prayed for me and like nothing worked or whatever. And I told my mom, I was like, I don't want to kill myself, Mom. I was like, but I don't want to live like this for the rest of my life. Yeah. And I had that mentality. And I think that's maybe I don't know, maybe you guys have experienced this, where it's like you feel like whatever situation is happening to you when you're young, you feel like it's going to be like that forever, or it's so magnified. And I'm talking to you guys like you guys are already older and stuff. Like you guys are probably still going through that right now, right? But have you guys felt that before, right? Like a situation happens, you're just like, oh my God, my whole world's done, right? Yeah. You guys have felt that?
Yeah, like, dang. Like two or 3 years ago, I took a hard fall in basketball that really messed up my back. And it still hurts right now, but I'm like, is this how I'm going to live for the rest of my life? Like, back problems, and I feel old, dude. I'm only 22. I feel like I'm 40. Dang. I have knee problems, back problems, everything, you name it. But I could say I did suffer from anxiety. Even till this day, I'm still trying to work on it. Like even at night, I have like restless legs, so my legs, I can't sleep without my legs. Like,
that's a real thing, right? Restless leg syndrome.
Dude, oh my gosh.
Thank you. Oh, she didn't hear us. She didn't hear us. She was busy.
Restless leg is a real thing.
Tyler, look in that camera. Look in that camera and say RLS is a real thing. Look, Christian, right? That camera right there.
Restless leg is a real thing.
Yes.
Even my doctor said it, dude. I told her, I was like, I can't sleep with my legs not moving. She's like, you have anxiety? I'm like, no, like I don't have anxiety.
Yeah.
I can't really say it.
Yeah. RLS, bro, it's a real thing. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
I move so much at night, and she was like, oh, you're so annoying. I was like, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's so funny.
Or like my back, everything. Like, I told Laila I could not sleep like 2 weeks ago all night. I was like, I think I didn't sleep at all. At 4:30, I just woke up and go to the gym. Went to the gym because like the devil was in my head. Like, you're not worthy for this job. Because I was waiting for the job. Remember I told you? Yeah. And he's like, you have back problems. You're just going to keep suffering with back problems. Like carrying everything. He's like, you're not worthy. And I was like, dude, I just opened up my Bible, started reading real quick. I was like, dude, you're not going to do nothing. You're not going to stop nothing for me, you know?
That's right.
But yeah, then my restless leg, it was kicking in that night too. It was just a terrible night.
Yeah, it just happens. But like, I'm glad that we're bringing this up because, yeah, I'm glad that like, you know, your generation is able to talk about it and able to like express like, hey, this is really happening. But I also think, like Laila was saying, like I think there might be times where like it might be a cool thing and people might say like, oh yeah, I have anxiety, but it might not be, or it might just be normal, like nervousness, normal. Like when you're growing up, you're gonna have awkward situations. You're gonna feel weird sometimes. Like and you know, my next topic kind of is about that identity. I think identity with your guys' generation is huge, right? Yeah. Pronouns, he, she, like all of that. There's a lot going on with that. What's been your guys' experience with that? Like seeing all that going on and stuff?
Yeah. Well, for me, like well, when you said like, well, what I was saying basically is like some people really do suffer with anxiety or depression.
Yeah.
But like for me, I remember when I would get really sad, I'd be like, I think I have depression. But I don't think I ever really had depression because I was always so happy. Like I would wake up and my family knows, even before I got saved, I was always just so happy. Like, I love you, I love everyone. But so I never had depression, but I definitely had anxiety. But then whenever I would get sad or whenever I just wanted attention, I'd be like, oh, I think I'm depressed.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like a label to put on there.
Yeah.
But then anxiety, I really did have that, like major things where I was like, oh, I think I'm dying. Or like, I'd be in like a bus and I would like, when COVID happened and people were spraying hand sanitizer, I would smell the alcohol and my head would run. I was like, is someone poisoning the bus? My heart would start beating, my hands would start sweating, and I'd be like, I need to get off the bus, and I would stop and get off before my stop just because I was freaking out. So like, yeah, it could be real or it could just be a label. Yeah. And that's the thing with identity as well. I think a lot of Gen Z are just trying to figure out who they are and what they have, or just like he, she, they, or them. For the longest time, I mean, before I got saved, I was bi. Like, I was like, I don't really care. Everyone's just a human, and it doesn't matter who you like, who you love. Everyone, it's just a person. It doesn't matter the gender. And with my New Age experience, which was on my last podcast.
Yeah, shout out.
That was me trying to find my identity in New Age. Like, I thought that was my identity. This is who I am. I'm a hippie. I'm a whatever you want to call it. That's who I was like, this is who I am. And it was a search for my identity. And that was everything that I was doing. Literally, it was after the truth and who I am and why I'm here. And so I think it's a big thing with Gen Z because we're aware of a lot of things. I feel like that, like, other generations weren't really aware to or didn't think about. Right. We're becoming aware to it. And so I think that's a big thing with trying to find our identity. We're trying to find what's the purpose of life. Why are we here? Who are we? Because it's just like, same with mental health awareness. It's the same with just identity, trying to figure out why we're here. And that's a big topic, and trying to figure out who we are. And that's why everyone has their pronouns, because at the end of the day, Gen Z is just trying to get to the bottom of what this world is or what the truth is. And it's God. And it's just, that's not even a thought in a lot of their minds, I think. Because when I was in the world, I never really heard about God. I didn't know about God. I never thought of him or this as an option. And the only reason I ever found out was because Chris invited me. But if he never did, God would have never crossed my mind. It wasn't even, it's almost like I didn't know he was a thing. Like, I didn't think about it. And I think that's a lot of, like, that's the main thing with Gen Z. It's like they just don't know, or they have a lot of hatred toward Christianity because of the labels that are on it. But I think once you get here and know God, you know that flesh and God, they're different. And God is perfect, but flesh is not. And that's in any circumstance. In New Age, you know, you're going to meet people who are not perfect. And New Age is not perfect as well. Obviously, it's demonic. But, like, in every single circumstance in life, there's fleshly people. And they're going to hurt you. And the only one that is perfect is God himself. And so I think people just need to come in and experience him for who he is and his love, and then they'll know the truth, the answer. Because that's what I was searching after, and now I have it.
That's good. What about you, Anessa? What do you think about when it comes to like identity, like your generation? Like, do you see a lot of that, people struggling with that?
It's a lot. I don't get a lot of it. It's like when you grow up, it's always boy girl. That's what it is. Like when I was talking about this to Mom and like Frank and Dev earlier, and it was like when we always are told that God makes us before we're actually in the womb. It's like all he knows is, or not all he knows, but like what he does is it's woman and man, boy, girl. Like that's what it is. So it's like you have no other options. You have no other options.
Yeah, it's kind of straightforward. Yeah. Do you see that a lot in your generation though? Like they're struggling, like Laila said, they're searching for something.
Every other person. It's like they're trying to change something else about them to try to find what it is.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. What are some of kind of the things that, like, let's say, like, you know, because we're, you know, being at church and everything, like, we're always trying to reach to the generations, whether it's Alpha, the young kids coming up, Gen Z, whoever it is, we're trying to reach everybody. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing, right? What would you guys say is, like, let's say someone's watching this and they have a church, let's say it's a pastor or something, or a leader or a youth leader, and they're just like, man, I really want to reach this generation, but they don't know how, or they feel like they don't know where to start. What are some kind of the things, I know it's like a big question, but like, what are some kind of the things that you wish like older people like understood about Gen Z, or how to reach them, or what advice would you give for someone watching this that's really trying to reach that generation?
I think personally, I just like want to be listened to. Now that I'm here, I get listened to a lot. Like people will sit down and talk to me. But back then, when I was trying to figure out everything, I really just wanted someone to listen to my thoughts, and literally just someone. And it's so hard to sit down and listen to someone, even if it can go on for hours. But I think that would mean a lot to Gen Z, just to have their thoughts be heard and their opinions be heard. Because I feel like the older people, they kind of just shut them down. It's like, well, that's not right. Yeah. And even if it is wrong, Gen Z just wants to be heard and listened to. And really just, I think they need to be loved as well. Like what Pastor did today with all the teens was so cool. Like having Chris hug them like a big teddy bear. Like that's what we want as well. Like I would love just to have a hug before. Now I get hugged all the time. But before, just to have a hug and have someone say, I love you and I want to listen to you. What do you have to say? What is on your mind? That's it.
That's good. What do you think, Christian?
Yeah, I agree with that. I keep telling like all the tribe kids, like guys mainly, because like if they're a girl, they go to Layla. But I keep telling like Anthony and Aiden and all them, like if they need to talk to somebody, just like shoot me a text. I know Anthony, he's been trying to like reach out to me because I told him like what they say, closed mouths don't get fed. How's that term say?
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Yeah, because like what she said, like they just need to be heard. Because like when I was growing up, I went to my dad a lot, and I know he just shut me down. Like if it was just for anything financial wise, just anything as a kid. So I think they do get shut down a lot. They do just need to be heard. And so the parents sometimes need to sit with them for a couple minutes, even an hour, just so they know what they're going through. Because if, like, just say for example, if they don't sit down with them, they could end up dead or went down the wrong path. But that one encounter with their parents or even with God would just change your perspective with everything.
That's really good. What about you, Anessa? Like you're still young, you're still in high school right now. Like what are some things that like, I don't know, you wish like, whether it might be a pastor or whatever, maybe it's away from church, maybe it's just parents. Like parents are watching this, they have a teenager at home and they feel like they can't reach them and they feel like they're like, they don't want to listen to me, like they can't connect with them. What advice would you give to like parents?
I think trying to like get to their level, like what Chris said, sitting down with them and having a talk with them and just like being open, not like if trying not to show judgment, you know what I'm saying? Like just be like, I'm listening to you, but sometimes I may not feel the same way as you, but I'm still listening to you and I still love you. And with like pastors, I think it's cool. Like we have the youth and it's like we can go to Christian, Laila, Carla. Like we have someone to go to.
Yeah, that's good. Do you feel like your parents like you guys have like, because I feel like you guys have a really good relationship with your parents, right? Are you closer with your mom or your dad? Your mom?
Like when it comes to talking like to my mom, but I want to go out like that.
With your dad? That's cool. It's cool to see because like there's not a lot of like families in church. And we brought that up on the podcast before about like, man, it's cool to see like families in church. And when I look at you guys, I'm like, dude, that's so cool. Because it reminds me of like how I kind of grew up, you know? And then it lets like other people know and like see, like it sets an example, you know what I mean? Where it's like maybe like for you guys didn't have that necessarily growing up or anything. And now like, you know, you guys can provide that, have that one day. Like it's just so cool to have, like to see that, like setting the example, you know? One thing that I saw online too, another stat was that, and obviously that's pretty obvious, right? Like Gen Z is like, I think they said 80% of Gen Z has like a social media, like has like either like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, something, right? And I was thinking, I was like, man, that's crazy to think about because my generation, like I remember like Facebook barely had came out. I think I was like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 around there. And then it really started kind of like coming out more and more in like early 2000s and stuff. But we already kind of like older already. And then someone told me one time about they're like, are you an iPad kid? I was like, what's an iPad kid?
You know who is? Your brother. Sam watches everything.
We went to Ethan's party and Manny was sitting there and I forgot what you were watching. You were watching something.
Soccer.
We were all talking and he just had his phone on. He was just sitting there eating.
Yeah. That's true.
I think I tried getting your attention a couple times.
Did you?
Like you kept eating.
It was probably a good game. But no, I thought about that and I'm like, man, like I feel like Gen Z gets slammed a lot for like, oh, you guys are always on your phones or iPad kids or whatever. But actually, if you really think about it, a lot of us are, even like millennials and stuff. Like I'll share, like there's a lot of people that I know in this audience right now, like we're always on our phones. It's not just Gen Z, but that's how you guys were raised. But it's also, I think, can be a good thing because I think in the right way because, okay, yeah, if you're just on social media all the time and it's not that good because you're comparing yourself to other people, you're comparing yourself to celebrities, like, you know what I mean? You're never going to live up to that. And then that's when the feelings of depression or whatever else comes in because you're like, man, I can't live up to whatever I'm seeing online. But on the flip side, if we use our time on social media for good things, or even just like Googling, like I Google stuff all the time. Like I don't know if that's a cool thing to do or anything, but I love to Google. Like if I'm driving somewhere and I'm like, how long does it take from here to Las Vegas or something? I'll be like, I wonder how long. I'm gonna Google that. Like I Google every like random little facts. You know, I think I was with Carla today in the back, and we're talking about increase and stuff like that, and I was just like, I wonder how much Amazon makes per day. So I Googled it, and it's like $2 billion a day or something. You know what I mean? But all that to say is that there's a lot of information out there at our fingertips, where before it's like you had to go to an encyclopedia. You guys don't even know what that is anymore. When we were little, when we were young, like we had to pull up encyclopedias and stuff like that. It's like you guys have so much information at your fingertips. But if it's used well, man, it's amazing. But if it's used for the wrong, I mean, it's like anything, right? What do you guys feel about that, about social media and stuff, your guys' generation, like comparing yourself? Have you guys ever felt that way, like personally?
Yeah. Growing up with like LaMelo, you know LaMelo, right? Yeah. Because we're the same age. So when I was like a freshman, he was a freshman. He already had like millions of followers. So I'm like, dang, like I wish I was him. Like he never has to work ever again. He goes straight to NBA and like make money playing basketball, like something he loves. So I guess growing up, I was like, I wish like I took like sports and stuff serious to be like them, but not like them. You know what I'm saying? Like a career like that, because I don't want to work a 9 to 5. Like nobody does.
That's true.
But like now I tend to not try to go on social media as much. Like in high school, I'd always be on it. TikTok, Instagram.
Well, that's how you met Laila. Shout out.
Snapchat.
But you see that a lot, like relationships, even just coming from like, you know what I mean? Like you'll be with your grandkids one day, like, listen around, kiddos. Snapchat and everything. That's cool.
I know, Snapchat. Yeah, for me, it's like a status symbol. Like depending, like me personally, not anymore. But when I was in the world, I was really like, oh, I got to grow my followers. I have to post every week because this is gonna, like, I'm gonna get friends. This is who I am, and this is gonna show what of a good person I am, or like my value or my worth. And I feel like that's how a lot of people feel. Like how many followers you have, comments you have, that determines your worth. And like that's what a lot of people think. But at the end of the day, like you can have 1 million and still be in depression. And I was telling Chris the other day, this might sound bad, but I was like, God had me stalk Kylie Jenner last night. And he's like, what?
I was like, what?
And I was like, no, yeah, like he literally had me do it. And so it's because he wanted me to go on there. And so I'm looking through like her posts and I was just like, wow, like this is like what I used to be in. And you can just see like so much sadness and just like to think like to have like
her specifically, you're saying?
Yeah, like, and I mean, it's like in a lot of people that because they're doing the same thing, you know, and just to have people like, oh, take my picture so that I can share it to all these people to gain like kind of like to make you feel valuable or worth. And like it was really sad going through it, and it reminded me of like the darkness that people are in. And even though it may look like, oh, they have all these cars, all this money, but it's really, they're really sad and they're in darkness, and they're kind of like reaching out by doing those posts, reaching out like someone like care for me, or like I want people to notice me. And I was telling Chris, I'm like, does anyone even know about these people? Like Kylie Jenner, does anyone even know who she is? Like what her thoughts are? Like no one knows. Like all they know is her looks, and that's for many people, guys, girls. All they know for LaMelo is, oh, he plays basketball, but they don't know anything else. And it's like these people, they just want to be heard, and they kind of like with Gen Z, like that's all they want. And it's really, it's sad. And before, like with the comparing yourself to others, I struggled with that so badly on social media. Like I would literally like post a picture, and then I would like go to someone else's page, like one of my old friends, and I would look up their page, and then I would literally compare the pictures.
No way.
Yes, it was so bad. And then I would go back to mine and back to theirs and back to mine and be like, okay, what looks better? So bad. And it felt so terrible inside. It like tore me down. It just made me feel terrible doing that all the time. And then now, obviously, I don't care. Like, God has made me, because I used to, like, wear, like, wigs a lot and makeup a lot. Now I never wear it because God has made me, like, He's helped me understand, like, you are beautiful the way I made you. Because I used to think, I have to wear makeup. I have to put a wig on because if not, I'm ugly. But He's really had me strip it all away, look in the mirror, and, like, He's shown me I'm beautiful. And, like, now I actually feel that way, which is, like, a big thing for me to say because before I didn't feel that way.
That's
especially,
awesome.
like, with my natural hair and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are the same way. And social media, it's a status symbol to be able to say, I'm better. And then also just going on your phones, like, in public or in situations, I feel like it brings comfort too. Because sometimes I'll be like in an awkward scenario or no one will be talking and then I'll just be like, okay, I'm going to go on my phone because this is awkward. Like I feel weird, you know? So that like for me, sometimes it brings comfort to me just to have that. So I'm not like just sitting there. But yeah.
I have a question for like girls specifically. And this might be like really off the like the podcast on what like our theme, but it's just a question because like I always wondered that. So like Gen Z, like you said, like you know about like makeup and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of girls are like now like kind of abandoning that, right? Like no makeup, not really doing the hair, super. I got the Crocs on, like you know what I mean? It's Crocs. It's just like baggy stuff. Like it's very just like chill, right? Is that what it is?
I think for me, why I haven't and hopefully don't go through the whole comparison thing is because when I started wearing makeup, it was like the clean girl type of thing. So it wasn't like I wasn't doing like a full face of makeup every single day, getting fully dressed. Like that's probably not good to say. Like on Thursdays I'll be in like sweats and a hoodie, but I still like I get ready. But it's like I think back to what I said. Like I don't go to the comparison thing because it's changed.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like. Yeah, like what Anessa's saying, like that's how I am now. Like if I'm gonna do my makeup or get ready, it's not like, oh, because I want to look the best or compare. It's really just because I want to look good sometimes. Like I want to go out and like look, you know what I mean? Like look good. But like at the same time, like I can go in baggy pants and hoodies, no makeup, have my hair out, and honestly, I feel like the same person. Like I don't feel any different, and I just feel chill. And I feel like a lot of girls these days are doing that. They're going like for like the cargos or like these type of pants and just going out chill. But I hope it stays that way because I really like the natural look, you know? So we'll see.
I was telling Andrea because she's very chill like that too. And so like she likes to get ready and stuff like that and chill and stuff. And I was like, this is like a cool like time, huh? Like she's like, yeah, I love it. Like she loves just like chilling, Crocs. Like when I got her the Crocs, she was so happy. Even when I got some, she's like, oh my God, like they're so cool. But like back then, like it was different. Like even in my generation, like everyone always got ready. Like if you saw a girl without a makeup on, it'd be like, what's wrong with you type of thing. You know what I mean? And not that we were like judging or being mean, but it was just, that just didn't happen. Even in just my generation, I'm not that much older than you guys. So it's crazy how quickly things change, like generations and stuff. Next question is, so we talked a little bit about like connecting and things like that, but what specifically do you think like when it comes to like Christianity and Gen Z, like how do we specifically reach the generation? I know we kind of talked a little bit on it, but like what are some specific things that we can do to really reach them? Because like one thing that I saw yesterday, we went to like, you know, it was like a shoe store and they had like worship and stuff like that. Is it more of those things? Is it outside of the church? How do we tie them back into the church? Like how do we reach this generation?
Yeah, I think with this generation, you have to start off with outside the church and then slowly bring them in. Because I feel like if you go straight to church, they're going to like back up and be like, no, this isn't me. But same thing, like with the shoe store, I think that's a good idea because Gen Z loves sneakers. They love Dunks and even Crocs. And I know they have like funky Crocs now with like I saw some with like Church's chicken. No, Kentucky Fried Chicken on top.
Really?
So I was like, what the heck are these? But yeah.
So cool now, huh?
But like hip hop, like Christian hip hop concerts would be like a good way to get them.
So just like outside of the church.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think like the shoe store thing, I love that. Like even for me, I'm like, this is so dope. Like this is amazing. And like I would always like invite my friends and be like, yeah, we're having a worship night. I'm like, and it's at a shoe store. Like I always threw that in because they'd be like, oh, what? Like that's cool. Like in Pomona or whatever. And like I don't like when people say, well, we have to like try to make God better or make God popular because that is not what we have to do because His word stays the same, consistent forever, right? But it's a thing that kids don't want to go into a Sunday morning service and sit there. Like no Gen Z group is going to be like, hey guys, like let's go to church this Sunday and just sit in there, you know? So it really has to be, okay, how can we like accommodate to Gen Z to help bring them in and show them the love of God, but also give them things that they would like to do. And like we do that, I feel like we do that with anyone. Like how can we accommodate to them, but also not change God's word because that's what's going to save them and that's what's going to really bring them in. It's God. He's the one that can do it. And I mean, prayer is everything. Like you just pray and He'll give you ideas. Oh, we should do this or we should do this. And then it's a big turnout because God knows their hearts and He knows what they want, you know?
That's good. What do you think, Anessa?
Going outside, like doing things outside. Like I like the Hope Fest because I feel like people see Christianity right now as like very judgmental. Like you can't do this, you can't do that. So when you bring people to the church, you're like, oh, I can't be myself, I can't do this. So I think going out and showing them like that's not how it is helps a lot. That's why I like the Hope Fest, because it was like you're outside like still preaching, but not like. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I know what you mean.
Layla's like,
I know what you mean. That's true, because like a lot of times, like what Pastor was saying today, like they're like, oh, I don't want to be judged, and like they don't want to be judged, but at the end of the day, like God, he judges, and that's what he does, but it's because he wants you to be perfect, and I mean, no one's gonna be perfect, but he wants you to be holy like him, and it's the best way to live. Like I can say it, testimony, like from before to now, this is the best way to live. And so I think going outside, having events like that is amazing, because especially like with free food and stuff, like for me, you say free food, I'm anywhere. Like you could tell me to go you could tell me to go to church on Sunday if there was free anything, like I'm there, you know. So it's just really like, what can we do to filter in Gen Z and help them get saved, because that'll branch out, you know. Each person is a door.
Ooh, that's good. Talk about that. Each person
Where did
is
I
a
hear
door.
that? I don't know. But
That's so good.
Each person is a door. Like me, like just from me being saved, like it's an open door. Now I'm telling other people about Jesus, my family, my friends. And like last weekend, I sent out an invite to like all my friends on Instagram to church. And I was just like, I'm just going to do it, you know? And I didn't expect to get anything back. But I had like 3 of them like paragraphs back up how they need this and how they've been wanting to text me, and like it's just reaching out. It's like just that open door, and once they get saved, they're another open door, and it's just like a whole like domino effect.
That's so good. That's so good.
The way that I invite my friends to these nights is like my friends in the world, like it's a live concert. Because if you say worship, they kind of like, nah, I'm good. But if you say live concert, then it kind of gets their attention, and you gotta say sneaker store, and they show up. Because sometimes like the ones we go to, they sometimes have like a rapper and stuff like that. Like on Friday we were in Melrose, so that's where like all these Gen Z kids are just shopping, walking around. We had free tacos, and then we were just giving them out, and then they came in, and then we had like 200 to 300 people in that shoe store. Like a lot of Gen Z, we're all praying for them. It's like they didn't go in expecting it was something about God. They just heard music and came inside.
That's so good.
Yeah, and then when they heard God, they didn't even leave. They just hung out and just started like talking to other people and just trying to like get them to come back and stuff like that.
That's good. Do you guys feel like, okay, because there's kind of a theme that's coming out, right, that we were kind of talking about, was like Gen Z like thinks they think maybe Christians are like hateful or judgmental, or they don't really want to be part of that. But is there also the flip side of like Jesus is kind of cool? Because I feel like a lot of artists are like embracing God and Christianity. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it's so confusing for me, because like I'll be listening, well, I don't listen to it now, but before, like I would listen to music and they would talk about God, but they would like cuss in the same music. And I was like, I do not understand this. Like, but yeah, it's like kind of cool. Like a lot of people are now like, I love Jesus. Or even like in high school, like everyone would be like, oh, like I'm Christian or I'm Catholic, you know? But like their lives didn't reflect it. So it's like a cool thing. But at the same time, it's like, but I don't want to go to church. Like me, I remember I used to see the cross and I'd be like, oh, that's scary. Like I don't know what it was. Well, I know what it was, because I would, like had like demonic things inside me, and I would literally see the cross and I'd be like, I would literally say that's demonic. Like it was so bad.
The cross.
Yes, it was so bad. It was so bad. And like I remember like my friends, because my friends were in the world too, and like they were witches and stuff, and they would think the same thing. They're like, if it's with family or church, it's evil. Like they would tell me that.
Dang, bro.
Yeah, and I was
wild.
like, yeah. But now I see, like, no, that's not right. You know? And
wait, if it was if anything has to do with family or church, that's cool.
Like my friend literally said to me, she was like, yeah, and if I see someone like in their Instagram bio and it has like a Bible verse or is like family, I think they're sus. Like you gotta watch out.
Sus?
Yeah.
Snap.
And I was like, oh, okay. But now I know like that's not true at all. But it's also like the thing where like they think that Christians are really judgmental. And like even for myself, like I have to be careful, because I'm not judgmental. Like I love you and I know what you're going through because I was there. But I know that what you're doing isn't right. And I just want you to know God. I just want you to love God. And that's why I tried to, like, tell you these things. But, like, the Bible says, like, you need to, like, correct them in kindness. And so even for us Christians, like, we're human. And we have to work on delivering God's message in kindness and not trying to, like, coming off judgmental. And with anything in the world, it's hard to, like, it's really hard to filter your words and, like, deliver messages in a way that doesn't sound rude. And that could be with anything. Like me, if I get the wrong order at a restaurant, I'm like, oh, like I don't want to be that person, but like I try to say it in the nicest way. But sometimes it comes out mean. I'm like, they're gonna spit in my food, you know? So
we went to McDonald's the other night and they gave me the wrong order. So I was like, they're gonna spit in my food. But yeah, about the whole judgmental thing, like there was a girl that came in the other day and she's like, oh, where's order pickup? But when she spoke, she was like, where's order pickup? Like, it was a guy, like dressed like a girl. I'm like, and then like I was like, she, I don't know how to say it, but she was walking down. I was like, hey, God bless you. And she kind of like came back. She's like, what'd you say? I was like, God bless you. I'm like, you about to press me or what? I just want to say God loves you, like, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess the way I said it was like judgmental, but I didn't mean like that. I was like, look, God loves you and like he won't judge you. And then like I remember I got in trouble from my manager. He's like, don't talk about God. He was like,
really?
I was like, good thing I'm leaving because I don't support.
We'll have to bleep that one. We're gonna cancel this. No, we would have been canceled a long time ago. No, that's really true. I think something like when it comes to like Gen Z and stuff, I wanted to get into is like even just like it's kind of not basic, but you know, like even like your vocabulary. You guys' vocabulary is so different. And it's funny because my dad's done it a couple of times on the mic. He's like, "You guys are all sus," and I'm like, "No, I don't think that's, I don't think that's the best thing to say." And then but it's funny because he really like tries, Or what do you say? He says like "sheesh" or something like that. I'm like,
most of the
that's
time
old.
he uses it right.
Yeah. I know Christina. She uses hecka bussin'.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go through the words. So there's bussin'. Right?
We were talking about this with our English teacher the other day. I forgot what it was. Fire.
Gas. So that okay, let's talk about it. So gas is a good thing. I use this drink is gas, right?
Mid.
Okay, hold on. Let's go one by one. So gas is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like
food is gas.
Yeah.
Okay. Because people are taking notes right now.
Yeah.
They're gonna watch this. And there's some.
I see Carla with their phone out right now.
There's some old people taking notes.
Google.
Okay. So something is gas is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is you said mid.
Mid.
Let's talk about mid. What's mid?
A mid's like this food's mid, so
Like,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Like middle, mid.
Yeah, like
like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, like your shoes are mid. They're not nice.
I mean they're all right, bro.
I know your brother likes using that word a lot.
Mid.
Yeah.
Okay, that's mid. Can a person be mid or just an item? A person can't be mid, right?
Like their outfit could be mid.
Okay.
But not like a person.
I've seen a lot of people call other people mid. Like
really?
Yeah.
When people like I hear a lot of guys be like, "Oh, she's mid," and I'm like, "Oh no."
That's
That's like get smacked across the face.
So you're calling her like a 5. That's
pretty much.
Chris, what does Riz mean? Because he always says that.
Riz.
And he says like,
RIS? RIZ?
I guess it's
RIZ.
like because I see it all over TikTok, and then my friends like, because like my friend Gion's like, dude, how do you get Riz? I'm like, oh, you're asking the wrong person. Like I have a girlfne and stuff. Like,
what does that mean?
Riz is like if you got game, like to talk to a girl.
Okay.
Like
is it short for something?
No.
Nah.
It's just a word.
Yeah, like you go up to your friend, but hey, you got Riz? Let me see your Riz. Let me see your game. It's pretty dumb. Like
It really
I've
is.
never heard that. I
Like-
just learned something right now.
like either you got game or you don't. Just don't say that word.
Riz.
You can't just out of nowhere wake up and be like, oh, I got Riz.
That's crazy. Well, you spit that Riz to
Oh, that's
Layla.
funny.
Hey, let's talk about it.
That's true.
It took a long time.
Whoa.
It took like
really?
It did.
shoot,
It did.
3-4 months. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I waited though.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
Patience.
because back to like her whole Instagram, like I knew her before she was saved. So like I remember her like she had like millions of like posts and stuff. So I was like, dang, this girl got a lot of followers. Like she's not gonna text me back. I have like 200, and then I remember what I say, dude. What I say to you?
I don't even know.
Oh, nah, I'm not even gonna say it. It was cringy.
Yeah.
What was it?
Nah, I slid up. I was like, I slid up. I was like, nah, there's no way you're real.
Real.
You're an angel.
He
You're
thought it was
the
a
angel.
bot. He thought
And
it was a bot.
she's like,
A
what?
bot.
I know. She's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm in. And she posted Fortnite. I'm like, hey, let's play. And then I got her number. And done deal.
Oh, okay.
You got Riz,
you're
bro.
Right, though. You're right. Yeah.
He's got that Riz.
A little bit.
Let's talk about cap. No cap?
Yeah.
I don't even know what cat means.
Like you're lying.
Oh,
Pretty
Like
much.
you're
I
capping.
guess.
That means you're lying.
I don't
yeah.
say. I just
You're
say don't
capping?
lie.
Yeah, but I don't say cap
don't
anymore.
either.
Yeah,
No?
I used to say.
I
it,
never
but
did.
I'm not that Gen Z.
No? That's too Gen Z?
No, I feel like it kind of died off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, our teacher on Thursday was like, she had a whole list of words, but I forgot what other words there were.
She went over a bunch. She had the whole class like name them out.
And
she was like, "What do these mean?"
And it's some girl said a word, and then like we had no idea what it meant, and she's like, "Oh yeah, my old coworker said it." We're like, "How old is your coworker?" She's like 50. I'm like, nobody uses that nowadays.
It was such a weird word, and everyone in the class was looking.
I don't even remember
like,
what it was.
What did she just say?
That's funny. But so bussin' is another one, right? So that's a good thing, right?
Bussin',
Yeah.
It's bussin'.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Side eye.
Balmic side eye.
Well, I don't know.
I don't even know what that means. It's kind of like, is it like judging?
Pretty much.
Like side eye.
Like if I gave Laila the.
Oh, okay, that's a
Like if
side
you're in
eye.
an
Okay.
uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't.
Anessa, give us something else.
Or like slay.
oh,
Slay?
I use that one.
That's my
today.
favorite one.
I think that's okay. I've heard that one.
Yeah.
No, not drippy. Nobody uses drippy anymore.
Drip,
No.
drip.
I'm
Okay, let's
old.
talk about drip. Drip is like clothing, right? Like you got drip.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything
Purr.
else?
No, we said
Purr?
no.
What's
Me and
purr?
this girl
That-
in my class,
that's
she
city
always
girl
texts
type
me, she's like,
stuff.
no, she always texts, she's like, purr. 'Cause,
What
like,
is that?
I'll give her like the answers to the homework, and she'll be like, purr. I'm
Like a cat?
Okay.
Like you're not a cat, bro.
It's a cat thing?
Yeah.
Like PUR?
P-U-R-R, and she'll put like 10 R's.
She's like purr.
What does that mean? Like cool?
I don't know, like kind
I
of
think.
like slay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
purr
Yeah.
means like I don't know.
It's like the same as slay, like they're in the same category.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm learning so much right now. This is
What's
great.
another word, dude?
No, there's a bunch. I just use them on the
Let's do one more. Give me one more.
And that's
I'm trying.
Carla, you got any? An L?
Took an L.
Took an L.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you get an L. Yep.
yeah, like that's bad.
You're a walking L. Like
Yeah. That's funny. That's cool. No, it's cool to like hear and everything and know because
Yeah.
it's like, man, all of our generations were so different. Like even for I forgot I said something today. It's almost like I've never heard that word. I think it was so it was I said it during lunch. It was like what did I say? Oh, I can't remember. Anyways, I guess I'm old, but that's funny. That's cool. No, it's cool to like know little lingo and
Yeah.
stuff. Your guys' generation for sure. Like you guys set like because like a lot of the words that even Andrea and I use sometimes like is from your generation or how we dress. You know, we're like trying to like you know what I mean. So it's like
Yeah.
you guys are actually trendsetters. Like your generation. Like the world is watching.
Yeah.
Like it really is. And I saw a quote and it said that Gen Z was like the sleeping giant, which basically means like at any point you guys like your whole generation come alive and change the nation.
Yeah.
I think about the movie Jesus Revolution, right? Because I've seen it like in the 70s, like all these hippies like got saved and then started getting baptized and
Yeah.
it started the whole Jesus movement.
Yeah.
And like your guys' generation totally can happen for you guys
yeah.
for sure
Yeah.
because of how big of an impact you guys make on like culture. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Have you guys seen that? Like you guys have a big impact on culture?
Oh yeah, just like starting like I mean, there's so many like, and it's more for the world, like the Black Lives Matter movement. I don't really know much about that. May look bad on me. I don't know, but I'm not in the news.
They're gonna get
Like,
canceled.
now that I think about it, maybe I should have said that. But I'm not on the news or anything, so
Yeah.
I don't really pay attention to it. But like they start a lot of movements because
Yeah.
they're like aware, and like if only like the majority of Gen Z of us were to be saved and know God, like the whole world can change.
Yeah.
And I always say that, like I always talk to Gen Z and I'm like, you're in high school right now. You know, like I always tell them, like during Tribe, I'm like, you're in high school right now. Like you have such an opportunity because I believe that Gen Z is gonna change the world, and if not Gen Z Alpha, but whatever you do is gonna trickle down to them. So you have to take action. You can't be like everybody else. You have to like just share the gospel, show them the love of God, because your actions can literally change the world. Because
Yeah.
that can just spread. You never know. You know.
Yeah.
I think all you need is just one kid in high school just to start going to
Yeah.
church and change it all.
Yeah.
Because they see the change in them. They're like, dude, where do you go? What church do you go to? See them dressed differently. Because I know nowadays these kids wearing some weird clothes. Like, I see
Yeah.
guys wearing crop tops. I'm like, what
Really?
Like, what do you? And
I haven't seen that one
and
yet.
it's- or like guys with like a tote bag and
Yeah,
no
yeah, I've
judgment.
seen
Like
that,
it's
I've seen
fire,
that.
but like
It's gas.
I don't want to get canceled. But like I personally wouldn't wear it. But yeah, now like everybody that takes pictures like guy wise, they wear it in a tote bag.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like it's kind of like masculinity is a little bit different with your generation,
For
right?
sure.
Yeah, definitely more feminine. Like masculinity.
Whoa,
is
why'd you look
becoming
at me? What?
Dang.
No, because you're a man, so like you can talk on it.
That's what
I'm like,
you're good, bro. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Because they're all like painting their nails and like
Yeah.
they like to wear like just more like they're just more feminine, definitely. Yeah.
I think it's more like when they do that for guys, I think it's more like new age. Because one of my friends, he's big. He's going to Duke for college. Plays basketball. His name is Jared McCain. He paints his nails. Like he literally beat like high schools and just painted their logo. So like he's into yoga and just everything new age. But whatever he wears, everybody starts wearing it. Like legit, like everybody in the basketball world.
Like a trendsetter.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true. I was talking with Andrea, and there's like a hamburger spot right here, and we're right by the high school, right? There's a hamburger spot right here, and I told Andrea, I was like, man, I remember like being like a freshman or a sophomore, I think it was. I just started driving, and I would pull up there at like, right after school, and it was like, I don't know, 3. I didn't have like the last period, so I'd get out early. So I'd get here by like 3 o'clock, whatever. I'd grab a little hamburger or whatever, and then go visit my grandma. And I remember all the kids from the high school right here like getting out. And oh my gosh, I was always scared to grab a hamburger right here when the kids got out of school, because they were just like, they were ready to go. They were just like ready to fight. Like it was like crazy back then, and, not to put down Generation Z at all, like Gen Z, but now it's just like, I've gone there right after, because when we were building the warehouse, we'd go sometimes and stuff like around that time. And now I'm just like, everyone that's like walking by is just like a hood on, hair to here, with AirPods in, just like quiet going down. I'm like, man, these kids are not scary anymore. And not that they have to be, right? Like I'm not putting down the generation for that, but like the generations are just so different. It just seems like Generation Z, it's like AirPods are in, very to yourself, very quiet, but then it's like, it's almost like they're kind of being suppressed in a way, but then they're like, it's coming out in other things, whether it's on social media or whatever the case. Like it seems like they're quiet, but all the stuff that we went through in high school, your guys' generation's going through, but it just seems like it's not being able to be expressed in the real world. It comes out online. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, because like even when I was in high school here at BP, there were so many fights after school where everyone would meet right here at the teen spot. Yeah. And just start boxing and just hitting each other. But yeah, I think how it started was social media, talking trash on social media, calling people out, and then, okay, meet me here in this. And that's when everybody would be there and just start recording. I remember like one day there was like, during Kindness Week, bro. Kindness Week.
You guys had Kindness Week?
Yes. There were 6 fights during Kindness Week.
What is Kindness Week?
Like, I don't even remember, dude. I don't even remember.
He wasn't kind.
I don't know, dude. I was like a quiet kid back at BP. I had like senior friends, and I was like, just buy them with the hoodie, like all scared. But I was just quiet, and then I just see all these fights. I'm trying to go home because I'm not trying to be involved.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just different. And I'm not even that much older than you guys, but it's different. I'll never forget, like, even the time where one time I was at the mall, and there was this kid, and like it was like one of the skate shops or one of the stores that sell like skateboard stuff or whatever. And you guys have probably heard of this brand. It's what's it called? Thrasher.
Yeah.
So it's like 666, like satanic thing, whatever, like the go ahead and all that. And there was some kid in there, and then I was like, he was buying this shirt, and he was young. He must have been like I don't know, like 10 and 11 years old. Like he was really young. Yeah. And he's telling the guy behind the thing, like, oh, I want this skateboard, whatever, and I want to buy this shirt. And then the guy went to the back to go find the skateboard for him, whatever. So I was just like, I'm gonna talk to this kid. I was like, do you know what that is right there? Like, do you know what that symbol, like what that is? And he's just like, he's like, no, not really. And I was just like, yeah, I was like, look, it's like, this is like satanic right here, dude. Like, this is like the devil. Like, literally, it wasn't like I was trying to give him this revelation. Like, this is literally like the devil, satanic, whatever. And then, as he's doing that, in his right hand, he has like the weed socks. Like, and I'm like, dude, you're 10. You probably don't even own a lighter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing with weed socks, bro? Like, he looked little. You know what I mean? There's some 10-year-olds that are probably more mature, but he just looked little, right? And I could just tell, he had little weed socks with them that he was about to buy. And then, he puts them on the counter, and then he's just like, oh, he's like, well, like all my friends, like, this is what all my friends wear and stuff. And I was just like, dang. And then I was like, just so you know, like, what this is, like, dude, this is actually like you're supporting like your enemy. I was like the devil literally is your enemy. Like, he wants nothing good for your life. He wants to destroy your life. He's gonna make you feel certain ways. He's gonna bring anxiety, doubt, fear. All these things come from him. I was like, so when you buy this shirt, you're actually like promoting that, and you're promoting your own enemy. I was like, is there anyone at your school that you don't like a bully or enemy? He's like, oh yeah, like there's this one bully. I was like, okay, basically you buying this shirt is like you buying, a shirt of your bully with his face on it. You know what I mean? And I put it to him like that, and he was just like, wow. He's like, man, that's crazy. I never heard that before. And he's like, but all my friends are gonna wear it. Like, I'm just gonna buy it. And like, he straight up just bought it right there, like right in front of me. I thought like Neil was gonna change him or something.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, I'm getting through this kid, you know. But he's just like, no, like I really want to like fit in, you know. Every generation has been like that about fitting in. Do you guys see that in Gen Z as well too? Is it different at all? Is it pretty much? I feel like my generation like that. Generation before, it's always about like fitting in. Yeah. Is that still a big thing, like fitting in, or is it kind of cool to be different?
Yeah, for sure. Like me in high school, I think fitting in was like curly hair. If you didn't have curly,
I remember that.
Yeah, I was in that phase. If you didn't have curly hair, you're not cool. But I think now as Gen Z, you have the Edgar haircut.
The Edgars.
If you're a guy, don't have a...
You don't like that?
I hate it. My mom makes fun of all the kids.
Yeah. Because if you don't got the Edgar cut, you're not cool.
If you don't got the Edgar cut, you're not.
That's a big one.
Like legit. Well,
yeah,
like in
I
high,
see
if you're in
them at
high
Knott's.
school,
I see them at Knott's.
yeah,
all the
it's
time.
like, hey, they got
Knott's?
banned.
They have a gang, KBF, Knott's Berry
Yeah.
Farm.
What?
It's crazy.
Yeah, me and Laila went to the mall a couple weeks ago, and there's a group of Edgars. They start throwing hands, dude. Blood everywhere. Like they didn't care, and they just ran.
That's crazy.
Sad. Yeah, with the trend or with
Like
the
fitting in.
trying to fit in, yeah, it's definitely. I mean, because everyone just wants to feel accepted.
Yeah.
You don't. No one wants to be singled out. You know, it sucks. So like everyone does want to fit in, but it's crazy because like to think about it, I'm like, all these kids are just trying to fit in, but where do these trends come from? Like, because most of them are demonic, like the ones that are in the school. So it's literally like the enemy, like the devil, literally transferring these, and it's from like the artists, like the rappers, singers, athletes. Like they're the ones that have these. They're the ones that are starting these trends. I feel like, and it's the enemy like giving it to them. Like I don't want to put anyone on blast, but like Lil Nas, Sam Smith, like you know what I mean? Like at the Grammys, just crazy. But like, and kids are watching that, following that, listening to that music. Oh, they love that song. What do they wear? They love that artist. What are they doing? And they want to be just like them. And then it just trickles down to their friends. And before you know it, like the enemy has gotten into these artists' heads, and then now it's in the schools. So it's crazy because they just want to be alike, but I think that they just don't understand what they're following and who they're representing.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think, Anessa? Like as far as like fitting in, you think it's like a big thing?
I feel like when you had said, that we like our generation has like the power to change things. I feel like people and like artists and bigger people like take advantage of that by starting negative trends to get them to listen to their music and do things that they're doing.
Yep.
That's really true. That's really good. Yeah, because they know that's a big market there.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like, I was talking to one guy and he's like a business guy and he's like, man, if you can reach Gen Z, you could be a millionaire. Yeah. Like Gen Z is the target. So of course, like music companies are going to know this. Big people in Hollywood, they're going to know this stuff. Like it's really crazy. Another thing I feel with your generation is a lot of darkness when it comes to like Hollywood.
Yeah.
Cartoons, even just like whatever, even if it's like a basic cartoon, it's like, why is everything so dark and like evil all the time? Like what?
Yeah,
like it's crazy. It's like in your face now. Have you guys seen that? Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah. Just real quick back to the trend thing. I think another trend is like if you don't go to parties, you're not cool enough. Like I remember I went to a party in high school and I had just a bad experience. I just never, like Laila knows this, like it was crazy. Like I almost died. Like other than that, I never went back to parties. But like with the whole movie thing, I know like in the new Buzz Lightyear, like they turned Buzz gay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Not Buzz, but like the other character gay. As a kid movie. I think, and what's the other movie that we saw?
I know Super Pets. It came out in like Super Pets too. I was like,
yeah.
And even just like new age things in movies. Like we watched that movie Strange World or something, and it was like the whole movie was about like a mushroom trip. And it's a kid. It was a Disney movie, and I was like, what the heck are we watching? But then like even like back then, like Alice in Wonderland, like I look back on that now and I'm like, that's a weird movie. Yeah. But it's like, why it's so sick? Like why are you trying to mess with the kids? Like even cartoons, like these are small kids that you're trying to get in their mind. Like it's so terrible. And also just as parents, like just to filter through and just be careful with what your kid is watching, and even on like YouTube and all that. Yeah. But as far as like Gen Z, I think the music is a big one. Yeah. And then the shows as well, like, you know, Stranger Things, we talked about that on the last podcast, like when they come out with the new season, that was insane. And I was like, why would they come out with something so dark and demonic? But it's because they have an agenda that they're trying to reach Gen Z. And so it's really just being careful and cautious. And I think like they just need to be aware of what they're watching and how that's because when I was a kid, like kids would like do like the Ouija board or like dumb stuff like that, and I would always like be interested in it, but I never actually wanted to do it because I was scared, because I knew evil was real. I knew like ghosts, demons were real, and I never wanted to let them in. And like I feel like with like watching shows like that or listening to music like that, they just need to know that it's the same as if you're playing one of those games. You're letting the demonic in, you're letting them into your home, into your space, into your body, and if they knew that and how serious it is, then I think that they would back off and be kind of scared and be like, oh, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to mess with that.
Like, even as you're talking, I thought even about like the show Stranger Things, right? Because you said Strange World, I thought about Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy. Even just seeing the progression of like the episodes, like the seasons, I'm like, it got really dark really fast. Like the last season, I was just like, this is so crazy. Like, not even gonna watch this at all.
Yeah.
But it got like super. Like
I stopped
Hellfire,
watching
and
it,
like,
dude.
like right away, it just went super crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of started a little like sci-fi, kind of whatever, and then it just went like, like 100%.
Insane.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, that's really big. I feel like when it comes to like media, like when it comes to like movies, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because like when I grew up, it was like as long as the movie was like a PG or a G movie, like parents didn't care or didn't look into it because there wasn't no stuff like that. There was no like gay couples trying to get in movies like that, anything like that. Like anything like satanic or evil really wasn't really that big. Now it's like not only like if the movie is a G or PG movie, you still gotta like look into it and like find out what kind of movie it is. PG-13 even now, like it's even like almost like rated R movies. Like it's just even a PG-13 movie, you can't even watch it anymore. Like it's just crazy. Like times have changed. As we wrap up, I wanted to bring up one other statistic that I saw. It said Gen Z are not as big not as big on like alcohol as far as like my generation and the generation before me, but they are bigger on drugs.
Yeah.
Whether it's like prescription drugs, or like other drugs, like a lot of pills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What has your guys' been experience on stuff like that? Either friendship, your own experience, your friends group, things that you hear in, you know, what's kind of big right now as far as like the drugs that are out there? Yeah.
Well, personally for me, I never done drugs or ever really drank in my life, but I have had friends in high school that's done both. So, they'd always smoke around me and stuff. And, like, they would always go hide at class. I'm like, dude, like, how are you going to graduate, you know? Like, you shouldn't even be, not, like, judgmental, but, like, kind of helping them out. Because I know every time they would smoke, they would call me at night, like, depressed. And, like, they don't know what to do. And, like, they're freaking out. And they don't want to tell their parents. I did have one bad, like, trip, I guess. I did smoke once that put me in the hospital.
Really?
Yeah, for, like, a couple hours. But other than that, I was like, no, I'm staying away from this because... But personally, I don't like experience-wise, nothing. But a lot of friends have done it and stuff.
Like weed's been around for a while, but have you guys heard anything about like pills specifically?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, me, yeah, because I like hung out with all my friends were like into that, and then I realized like even like the good kids or like the cheerleaders and football players, because like sometimes I would go hang out with them and like they would be doing it too. Like they would have like cocaine there and stuff, and I was like, what the heck? Because I went to Glendora. So, like, I thought these kids were good, you know? But it was, like, even, like, in my group, which was, like, the, like, bad kids, and then, like, even, like, the athletes and stuff, like, they all do it. And I think, like, well, for me and, like, my friends, it was more just, like, we wanted to have fun and, like, do something cool. It felt cool. But then also, like, because sometimes, like, I would do it alone. I know they would do it alone. And it was just, like, to cope. I feel like just with whatever's going on at home or even just identity, trying to find your identity and maybe, like, these drugs will help you figure it out. And that's more like for psychedelics, but like for prescription pills and stuff like that, those are just, I think those are just, it's just sadness there. Because like whenever I would take like hard pills like Xanax or Perks, like it was just out of sadness. And like, I just want to like go to sleep. Like literally that's all the only reason, because they literally put you to sleep. You're like a zombie.
I was going to say, what exactly do they do?
Like Xanax, those like I would literally take it. And I would wake up hours later. Like, what happened? Like, what time is it? Like, I would literally take it like 10 a.m. and wake up at like 6 p.m. Like, I hated those. I don't know why I ever did it. Because it, like, what does it do? And I think the only reason I did it is just because I was just sad. I just wanted to take something just to put me to sleep. Like, the Perks, those were just really scary. Like, I remember I took some and then the next day, like, my heartbeat felt, like, irregular. And I was really scared. I was like, what the heck? I'm like, I couldn't breathe right. And so that really scared me. But it was all just, like, trying to fit in, trying to cope with what was going on at home. And it was honestly, it just took me down a really scary path. And I think it's doing that to a lot of them. Like, even the friends that texted me when I sent out the invite, one of them, well, two of them are in that right now. And so one of them, I used to take like the perks with her, and I know she still does it and stuff. And she was just like, yeah, I'm just down this hole. I tried to get better, but it's the people I hang out with. I can't. And it's just like they're stuck. And they're so young, but they feel stuck. You know?
That's good.
I'm not sure. Sorry, but I'm not sure what drugs like popular right now. But I know in LA it's like shrooms. Like Friday night, I was at the shoe spot and I was talking to my friend Drew, and some guy walks up and said, "Hey, you want to buy some shrooms?" Like he had a bag full of shrooms. I was like, "Nah, I'm good, bro." And then like he started walking away. We like chased him down and like started praying for him and stuff. And like he threw away his drugs. Like his money making, he literally like tossed it away and like hung out with us. But
that's awesome.
Like out there's a lot of like people like I saw people like hustling, like a Mexican family. They got $2,000 for like they bought drugs off of them because they said it was like gonna help you like be happy and stuff. I was like, I walked up to the family like, dude, nothing's happy unless you have a God. You're not like, you need God in your life to be happy, and you don't need drugs. And they're like, well, I just spent like my $2,000. I'm like,
that's crazy.
Can't believe you did that.
Wow.
That's wild. Yeah, it's big. What about you, Anessa? Have you heard like what is drugs a big thing?
Yeah, like what Laila said, I feel like a lot of it is coping. Like I have a lot of friends and I know like their personal backgrounds and now they're drinking and they're smoking. Like every story you see, it's they're going out, they're drinking, they're smoking. And I think it's to cope, because I have a couple friends that'll tell me that like I have this going on, and then the next day they're out with the other friends. And I think it's a lot of like the people they surround themselves with, because I know like I have a friend and then I know their friends and I know what they're all into, and I think it's like peer pressure and doing it because they're doing it, and what you said, to fit in. Like I think that's what it is.
Being that you're still in high school right now, what advice would you give to someone that's watching this, like that's your age, let's say, right? And like they want to stay away from that stuff, like they want to do what's right, but it's just hard because again, they want to fit in, they don't want to be weird. Like what advice would you give?
One, don't do drugs. First, don't do drugs.
And don't go to high school, just be homeschooled.
Yeah, just be homeschooled.
No, but like seriously, like
yeah,
it's hard. That's tough.
It is. Like I have this one friend, and like like they want to come to church, like they want to have a relationship with God, but it's hard because their family is like forcing it on them, but they're struggling with like being into drugs and alcohol. Like they're trying to get out of it, but they want to come to God. It's just hard they feel like it's hard because it's being forced on them. So I basically told them just worship, like worship, and if you can go to church. I think that's what it is. Like you have to be able to give yourself and let it go. Like you have to repent and give those things out and realize like you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really tough. What about you, Laila? Like having like that background in that, what advice would you give for like a young person and stuff? Like they're in high school specifically, let's say, and like it's all around them. They want to stay away from it, but they don't want to be weird. They don't want to be like isolated from everybody. You know what I'm saying? What advice would you give someone like that?
Yeah, my advice also would be like worship. I mean, worship is only for so many people, because some people don't really resonate with that right away. Because for me, it was worshiping. That was what brought me to God and how he introduced himself to me. But also just to seek God. If you can't find a church, or even like don't have a ride, or don't want to leave your friend group, because that could be really, really hard, just seek God. Go, when you're in your room alone, instead of going on TikTok or going on Netflix, just get a Bible, open your Bible, go get the Bible app. You don't even have to go buy it. You can just get the Bible app and pray and just ask God, help me change my life. Help me change who I am. Help me know you. And he's so faithful. If you just open your heart to him and you just seek him and truly want him, he will reveal himself to you, and he will change your life. It'll happen.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you guys for being on. I appreciate you guys so much. We'll probably have to do a part 2 again and just dive into some more stuff. Yeah. But it's good to get a good basis of like what we're up against, like what Gen Z looks like, how to reach them, what are some of the things they go through. Like it's really good. Before we end though, Laila, I want to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind just praying for your generation? Would you mind like on the mic right now, like we'll bow and we'll really like give this time and really pray for your generation, like really, because like I said, I feel like, man, it's so powerful. You guys have something so amazing. It's like on the brink of like something huge can explode. It can be a generation, a Gen Z movement, just like the Jesus people, just like the 70s. Like, man, I really see it on your guys' generation, but it's like I feel like we really have to press in and stuff. So if you wouldn't mind, that'd be great.
Yes. Father God, Lord, first of all, God, we just thank you for your glory, God. and that your spirit, Lord, is so strong, God, and that you're ready to pour out your love and pour out your oil, God, on whoever's ready to receive it, Lord. Lord, I just ask that you set Generation Z on fire, God. God, that you give us all in the church a burden for their souls, God, to love them, Lord, and that you reveal your glory to them, Lord, and your love and your spirit to them, God. God, I pray for Generation Z, Lord, that they open up their hearts and their minds to you, God, and that they're open and ready to accept the knowledge and love of Christ, Lord. Lord, that you use your goodness to change their lives, your love to change their lives, God. And for us, God, I just pray that you use us in any way that you can, Lord, to reach Generation Z, God. God, I pray for the lost. I pray for the depressed, God, that you reach them, God, and that you touch them, Lord, and that your love just overtakes their life, God, that it just captivates them, God, that they can't deny your love and your goodness, God, that you show them that there is someone who wants them, there is someone who loves them, and it is Jesus. Lord, that you reveal to them the story, Lord, of Jesus Christ, the crucifixion, God, of Jesus Christ, Lord, that you died for them, God, that you died, Lord, that you died, Jesus, God, that you shed your blood for them, that their life is so worthy, God, that you sent your only son to die on the cross just for them, just for them. So, Lord, I just pray that you open up their hearts, God. Open up their minds to you, Lord, and just love them, Lord. Love them with an overwhelming amount of love, Lord, that they just cannot deny your spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Man, that was good. Thank you, Laila. Appreciate it so much. Again, thank you guys for being on. With that being said, man, that wraps up our episode here. I encourage you guys to share this with somebody. Share this with a young person. Share this with a parent. Share this with a youth leader. Somebody out there so that you guys can use this. The material that was talked about today, the content today, so good, so much insight. With that being said, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.